Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with our second house call of the weekend. Hopefully you got to tune in yesterday. That was episode 2556. Today's episode 2557. If you'd like to follow along with the questions that were submitted, you can go to stephencabral.com/2557 and follow along there. Feel free to pick up, if you haven't already, your free copy of The Rain Barrel Effect. Of course, we'd love for you to check out that book. Make sure you understand the manifestation of disease and weight gain and or excessive weight loss and rapid aging. So we share with you all the top 10 reasons and, of course, then the de-stress protocol of how to bio-individualize your own diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and a success mindset in order to be able to heal your body and mind. That's really what it's all about. So both sound body, sound mind, and enjoyment, happiness in this life. So let's get started with your questions. I'm opened up the document, the Ask Cabral document that my team so graciously puts together on a weekly basis. And I see today the first questions coming in from Mariana. Why don't I give you the disclaimer now rather than I forget halfway through the show? I'm not here to provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis on the show. I'm here to give you that second opinion you were looking for, a place to get started, and of course, look at the true underlying root causes of why there is dis-ease in the body in the first place. All right, so Mariana says, thank you and your team for all that you do. What are your thoughts on tahini? I have quite a bit on days 14 to 28 of my cycle, as do I seed cycling, but I believe it's made from toasted sesame seeds. Does this mean that it's not actually as healthy as portrayed? Thank you. Okay, great question. So if you are someone who is doing seed cycling, a female trying to regulate the menstrual cycle to the best of your ability, I have a podcast on that. Of course, you can find it at stephencabral.com/podcasts. A lot of times you can just put in my name, Stephen Cabral, and seed cycling into Google, and you'll typically be able to find the show as well, but you can find that right at stephencabral.com/podcast. I have a show saying that if you're trying to really re-regulate the menstrual cycle, of course, it's great to do at-home lab testing and find out if you're estrogen dominant, which is the main cause of it, and then if it's due to high cortisol levels. And so anyway, you can definitely find that out. That's called the stress, mood, and metabolism test. That's at stephencabral.com/shop. You can see what it is. You do it right at home. But of course, you can always run that with your own practitioner as well. Totally fine. So for the first 14 days of your cycle, your menstrual cycle, that's called the follicular phase. And that is flax seeds that you'd be using and pumpkin seeds. I won't go into how to do it. You can check out the previous podcast. You obviously, Mariana, know how to do it. So you've got your flax, you've got your pumpkin seeds, and that's going to be more beneficial then. And then your last 14 days is the sesame seeds and the sunflower seeds. Typically 1 tablespoon of each per day. So when you ask about tahini, well, tahini is essentially crushed, ground down sesame seeds, which is then tahini. The problem with tahini is you just want to see what else is added to it. If it's just pure organic sesame seeds, then you're good to go. No issue there. And you're welcome to do a tablespoon of tahini instead. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Kelsey's up next. Hello, doctor. I'm a 27-year-old female. I recently went off of TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and I have a hypothyroid condition, so low thyroid. I have a history of past anorexia. I'm now doing much better in that regard. I'm about 130 pounds, 5'2", 24% body fat. A very active individual and always been health conscious. My diet's almost 100% whole foods, and I've been on fertility treatment the majority of this year and have been unsuccessful. I've never had a child and have gone for many years with missing periods, no PCOS. In 2020, I went on birth control because I had regained my cycles naturally and was trying to boost hormones to conceive eventually. My question for you is this: how can I regain my natural cycles without medical assistance for each one, and what should my steps be forward from here? Okay, yeah, happy to help with this. So I have a course
at stevencabral.com/courses. I've got one on thyroid. I have one on female hormones. I have one on digestion. I have one on detox, and I have one on weight loss. Those go very in depth. They're approximately 4.5 hours long. It's the equivalent to probably doing like 3 to 4 consultations with a doctor, and it is probably the equivalent to reading 12 books on the topic. So I do that as a deep dive for people who really want to figure out how to overcome thyroid issues, digestive issues, female hormone issues, et cetera, weight loss, et cetera. All right, so in this case, I would do that if possible, and I would run the stress, mood, and metabolism lab. Like if you do nothing else, you'll do that. Ideally, you run the big 5 labs, but if not, the stress, mood, and metabolism, do the course or not do the course, totally up to you. But we need to figure out why. We do this all the time. Like I've done probably 50 shows on infertility on a lot of other people's podcasts, and we go through the exact regimen. So I would definitely look at that. I would check out my podcast. I've just done a bunch of shows on how to have a happy and healthy pregnancy. I typically link that one up quite a bit. If you want any of those shows, they're of course free. Just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com if you can't find them. Michelle or Daniel will be able to get them for you. So what else can I say? But really, you want a customized plan. So we want to know if you're low on estrogen and progesterone, or just progesterone, which many women are. We want to know if you're high in evening cortisol. The only way to do that is with a salivary test. We want to know if you're low thyroid. And so we look at that too, especially at a functional level. Like even if you're at 2.5 for thyroid, it's not functionally where it should be, and that can affect fertility as well. So that's the only way. Like I could give you a bunch of different things to do, but that's not what I do. I help people finally get their answer. So I'm not going to give you something that may work or may not work. We're going to give you exactly what works, custom tailored for you. And if you're already going through fertility treatments and they're not working and you're investing all that money there, we need to just do some at-home lab testing to figure out what exactly is not working for you. All right? And we'll figure it out. There's no doubt about that. So you can work with us. You can work with an integrative health practitioner level 2 that specializes in female hormones as well, or a naturopathic doctor that specializes in fertility as well. All right? Up to you. Totally up to you, but that's exactly what I would do if this was my wife or family member asking me this question. Amanda says, hello, I'm 34 years old, 105 pounds, I'm 5'1". During my pregnancy, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. 1.5 years postpartum, the glucose intolerance is still there. My blood type is Vata, fasting glucose and insulin is normal and low, but the postprandial blood sugar after 55 grams of carbs takes 3 to 4 hours to return to baseline, and spikes quite high, and the spike is delayed. I went low to no carb for 5 years due to chronic bloating many years ago. It helped a few months, and then it did not help, but I continued. Blood sugar is worse during the luteal or my menstrual cycle. My diet is very clean, balanced, organic. Let's see. PP sugar worse when I'm postprandial, sugar worse when I'm low carb. Absolutely, because you're all right. No family diabetes. I also work as a dentist. Could heavy metal exposures be an issue with the glucose? Have you seen this? Do you think there's hope to get better? All right, so definitely hope to get better. Yes, no doubt about it. But you're a Vata body type, let's say, 5'1", 105. This is not your typical what you would see type 2 diabetes or glucose intolerance, right? There's something going on with the cells. Like you go low carb, and it gets worse when you start to have even a little bit of carbs, which is, I've talked about this before. It's a vicious cycle. If you stay low carb for too long, you actually decrease your insulin sensitivity. I know your insulin is normal or low right now, but that's actually meaning like, are you producing enough insulin? Doesn't seem like it, in order to be able to get the glucose into your cells. So 100% I'm running the big 5 labs. You don't have to, but I'm looking at your omega-6, your omega-3 levels. I'm going to look at your overall neurotransmitter metabolites. I'm going to look at all sorts of different markers, potentially for mold or for yeast. I'm looking at heavy metals on the minerals and metals test. Food sensitivities is probably not going to have the greatest effect, just compounding inflammation on that. And then I'm going to look at your cortisol levels, your thyroid, et cetera. So definitely the big 5 labs, no doubt about it. That's my opinion. You don't have to run those, but 100% that's what I recommend. Because again, you're getting blood sugar worse during your luteal phase, which probably means that you're leaning more estrogen dominant as well, and you're probably higher cortisol. And so we have high cortisol and high estrogen, and they are cyclical. So, I shouldn't say they're cyclical. They are, it's a vicious cycle. So they feed each other. That's the best way to say that. Higher levels of estrogen
leads to higher levels of cortisol. Higher levels of stress hormone leads to lower levels of progesterone, which then comes about as symptom-wise as estrogen dominance. So that is where I would start. Definitely look for those heavy metals, like you said. I don't think mold's causing this, but we would at least get a little indicator on that Candida metabolic and vitamins test. All right, good question. Maria's up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for being awesome. Maria, thank you. Appreciate that. I have a question about cellulitis. My 75-year-old mom recently had a bout with cellulitis. I want to ask you what you can tell me about cellulitis. How can we prevent it from happening again? I did search your podcast, but didn't find what I was looking for. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes cellulite gets confused with cellulitis, and it's not obviously the same. And so when we're looking at cellulitis, what we want to understand is that it's typically caused by a staph infection on the skin and can be very, very serious. So what I want you to do for sure is, again, at 75 years old, what is this individual willing to do? But oftentimes the bacteria on the skin, we all have natural bacteria in our skin, is imbalanced. Sometimes it's from harsh soaps that people use, like antibacterial soaps in the shower all day long, which is not helpful for your own natural bacteria, that's for sure. And then we also want to create a good, healthy gut microbiome, which can then also lead to a good, healthy immune system, which then leads to a good skin biome as well. So what can you do? I don't know. I don't know what this person's willing to do. If they could run the starter kit or the Big 5, great. If not, kind of start with the daily foundational protocol that we recommend at stephencabral.com/shop. That's a great place to start, or maybe the immunity protocol. But again, at 75 years old, which to me is going to be that's going to be 3/4 through life in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years maximum. So I still think that at 75 years old, I just want people to start thinking that age as younger. I think you have 25 more years to go for more individuals. I really believe that. I believe that the true normal is 100 years within the next 10 to 15 years. And then maybe after another 20 to 30 years, then that new normal might be 120. We're not there yet. We need some tweaks and changes. But if you're younger than, let's say 75, 80 years old right now, I definitely believe that you can make it to 90 to 100 years old. If you're less than, I don't want to put the nocebo in anybody's head. If you're younger than 70, I think if you're younger than 65, 70, you're going to be able to make it to 100 years old. I really believe that. If you want to, again, if you want to, follow the different things to be doing, I truly believe that. And healthy. Again, we're talking about health span and lifespan, not on a dozen pharmaceuticals to keep you alive. And I don't know that that's the best way to live. But again, that's everybody's choice. All right. So yeah, boosting the overall immune system to deal with this staph so it doesn't begin to grow, because cellulitis is from staph infection that's just kind of taken over. And it's very, very serious. So of course you want medical intervention for that. Gemma's up next. Please, can you do a podcast on non-hormonal contraception or whatever contraception methods you consider safe? I'm about to get my coil removed and it is a progesterone one. I have ductal hyperplasia and I do not want yearly mammograms. I just want to get to the underlying root causes. And I believe that I should not using any hormones. Thanks. Okay. I actually have done a podcast on contraceptives. So, and non-hormonal contraceptives. So I've done one on copper IUDs. I've done one on certain types of prophylactics. I've done a lot of shows on this. So if you're not able to find it at stephencabral.com/podcast, just ask right at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll find it for you. No doubt about it. Happy to help with that for sure. So yeah, I give you the pros and cons to copper IUDs and many others because sometimes the copper becomes an issue for many people, but some not. And so I give you all the pros and cons and happy to go over that on that show. All right. Lisa's up next. How do you get rid of mycotoxins? Ochratoxin. I took a mold test and this was a little high, 8.83. Are there supplements I can take? I've been doing infrared sauna with binders for 2 years, 3 to 4 times a day, but obviously that this is not enough. Okay, yeah, happy to help. So binders are not enough. I know there's a lot of talk that you just need to take a binder and infrared sauna and you'll be good to go for heavy metals or mold, and that's just not the case. Now, keep in mind though, I'm proud of the work that you've been doing. It's amazing, right? You're doing infrared sauna, I don't know if you meant 2 to 3 times a day. I think you probably meant 2 to 3 times a week. And that's fantastic. I mean, like, you're doing great. So, but you're not releasing the mold, the mycotoxins from the body, and you're not killing the mold itself. Binders are not going to kill mold, right? Binders are not going to kill heavy metals, we'll put it that way, right? They'll bind whatever's in the gut. What I want to do is make sure that we grab hold of, destroy the mold, boost the immune system, which is really the only way to get rid of mold. A lot of people are not telling you that, so that your immune system can then do the attacking as well, okay? So we have both a heavy metal detox and a mold detox protocol at stevencabral.com/shop. That's what I've been using for over a decade. It works fantastically well. You can do your before and afters if you choose to, but you're going to feel the difference. And then you'll add the binder to either one of those. So the binder we use is called the Universal Binder. You can find that at stevencabral.com/shop. And you can find the mold protocol there and the heavy metal protocol. You just use the search box and you'll be able to type that right in and find it. And that's exactly what we do. Now, keep doing the sauna though. Keep doing the infrared sauna. It's not like it wasn't working for you. It's just not maximized, right? Because you don't have like a heavy metal detox, the cracked cell chlorella, the cilantro, the nutrients that your body needs, right, to pull that out. And then for the mold, well, I mean, you want to be able to get all those nutrients that your body needs, the rosmarinic acid, et cetera. That's going to help kill that mold too. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. You know, keep that hydration going, keep the sauna going. All those things are certainly going to be highly beneficial. I appreciate all of the questions this week. I appreciate you as a community. If you haven't subscribed to the show, I would love for you to do that. Daily shows coming at you every single day on YouTube or your favorite podcast player. And of course, at stevencabral.com/podcast, you can search all previous shows. I'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday, my favorite way to start the week. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.